Okay, so can I start now? So good afternoon, everybody. So last time, let me look for the pin here. Last time I started to explain how can we program the LCD. As you see here, we have one LCD here. So what I did last time, number one, I told you how it is connected to the microcontroller, and I told you what happens is that, as you see here, this is our LCD. So actually we need one pin for RS, okay? RS here, you should tell the LCD if you are gonna send a command or you are gonna send a character, data or command, okay? Character to display for sure. Here, this is enable, and also we need four pins. This is where you have to send the data. I told you before, what you are going to send to the LCD, either data. What do you mean by data? I mean, if I want to display letter A, so I have to send the ASCII of letter A, which is a byte, 8 bits. Is that okay? Here we have 4 bits. That's why the 8 bits I have to send it 4 and then 4 twice, 4 and 4. Okay. And I told you, by the way, this is a very important thing, guys. What I'm saying is that in your capstone, maybe in the future, you are going to use a different LCD. You got what I'm saying? Even the same LCD. So that's why I post everything I did. All of them looks the same. So all of them are very close to each other. This is number one. Okay. However, you have to read the data sheet and you have to follow the data sheet. Even for this LCD, it has 2 modes, 4-bit and 8-bit mode. You got what I'm saying? So in case of 8-bit mode, so you can, if you have enough pins, so in this case you can connect 8. So here we connect only 4. So there is another configuration, you can connect 8. In this time, your data, your command, you can send it one time. Is that okay? But here we use 4-bit mode just to save the number of pins. So in this case, if you have 8 bits, you are going to send 4 and 4. So I'm going to send it in two times, 4 and 4, okay? And then I told you we use shift register, okay? So, and this is our LCD is connected to shift register this way. So here, this one is connected here, this one is connected here, the 4 pins are here. And then all what I have to do, I have to write to the shift register, and then the shift register is gonna connect, is gonna send the data to the LCD, okay? To use the shift register, I only need 3 pins, as I explained the last time. As you see here, one is called MOSI, which is this one here. This is where you have to put your data shift register, right? So if I want to send 1101 and so on, so here you have to put bit by bit, as I explained last time. Here, clock. Okay, here this is for latch. So as I explained last time, after you input all your data, you need to send a pulse here so that this data can appear here. So again, the conclusion is we have a shift register. This shift register here, this shift register is connected to the LED using three pins, only 3 pins. That's all what I'm gonna use. And then the output here is connected to the LCD. Okay, and so again, why I did it this way? To save the number of pins. The main challenge I have, or usually you have, any microcontrollers, you don't have too many pins. Even if you have too many pins, still you need to connect to too many devices. You understand what I'm saying? So in this case, I'm going to use only three pins. Okay, anyway. And then I explained here a subroutine. How can you write a byte to the shift register? And then how can you write a nibble to the microcontroller? Because that's what I told you. If you want to send your data or your command, actually, I didn't teach commands yet, but I'm going to teach commands, the code for commands. Okay, so either that's what you have to do, guys. That's what I'm saying. This is the LCD. Either I'm going to send the byte, and this byte is ASCII for a character to display, or I'm going to send a byte for a code for a command I want to the LCD to execute, as I'm going to elaborate today. In both cases, you have to send a byte. Is that okay? To send a byte, I'm going to do it twice. So I have to call this function twice. Okay, so I need to send this nibble. I think we send the most significant one first, and then we send the least significant one, okay? And then finally, last time I told you, this is, so how I'm gonna use it. So I explained a lot of things, okay? How you are gonna use it, very simple. If you wanna use the LCD, just you have 3-4 functions you are gonna use, that's it. Okay? But still you need to understand the details. Why you should understand the details? Why just I didn't come in the beginning and I'm not gonna explain everything. I'm gonna tell you we have 3 functions. If you want to display a character, just send letter A. For sure, you're not gonna learn anything if I do that. Number 2, and this is most important, in the future, if you use a different LCD, okay, so you have to program it. You have to program the details. You understand what I'm saying? So anyway, so every time I want to use the LCD, actually there are only 3 functions I'm going to use. The first function, as I told you last time, is the initialization. So you need to do initialization only one time. So you just to call this one to do initialization. What kind of initialization I have to do? Okay, number one, I need to do initialization for the pins I'm going to use. That's what I did in the beginning here. I'm going to use 3 pins, one for MOSI, PB5, PA11, and then PB3. Okay, so you need to do configuration for the 3 pins. You have to configure them output, and we have done it all the time. This is the first part of the configuration. You already have this function. Okay, number 2, I need to do configuration for the LCD itself. For the LCD itself. What kind of configuration you have to do for the LCD? As I told you last time, number 1, you need to reset the controller. You have to keep in mind, this is a very important thing, guys, very important. Listen to me. This LCD, inside the LCD, it has a system. So this LCD, it has a RAM, it has some logic circuits, okay? So this is not a dumb device like the 7 segment. That is why you need only to write, if you want to write a character, you just write it one time and then it's going to be shown all the time because it has a system inside it. You understand what I'm saying? So, but this is a dumb device, so it doesn't have a system. Okay, anyway, so you will understand what I'm saying. So here, number 1, you need to reset the controller. How can you reset the controller? I have to send 30 and then 30, 30 and then 20. Okay, and then I have to wait this time. How you came up with this number? How you came up with this one? Okay. Again, if you look at the data sheet, that's what they told me in the data sheet. In the data sheet, they told me if you open, I already posted in the book website. Why I'm explaining all these details? Simply because in the future you may need to program a different LCD. So you need to follow the same steps. I don't want to restrict my teaching to only this LCD. You understand what I'm saying? So I just the people who made the LCD, they told me if you want to do, this is how they define, this is how they design the system. If you want to use it, number 1, you have to do reset to the system this way. Okay, so I just did what they said in the LCD. Also, after I do that, I'm going to send instructions, commands, several commands here. I'm going to explain them, okay? So here also, I'm going to come to them, but before I come to them, I told you, we have also, in addition to the initialization function, we have also one function to send instruction, command. So if you want to send a command, you have to call this function and you have to put here the command here to this function, okay? The other function we are going to use, write character to LCD. This one is used if you want to write a character to the LCD and you have to put the ASCII here, right? This character can be a number. So if I want to display number 1, I should not send 1. If I want to display number 1, I have to send the ASCII of 1, which is 30, 0x30. You understand what I'm saying? Anything you want to display, you have to send its ASCII, even space. A space has a ASCII. So if I want to leave a space, I have to send 20 because 20 is ASCII for space and so on. Is that okay? So very simple. If I'm going to show you how, very simple. So just to call this function and you have to send the code here. Sorry, you have to send the ASCII of the character you want to display here. This is if you want to execute a command and you have to send the code for the command here. I'm going to show you what codes we have. And the coming lab is going to be a practice on these codes, okay? And what kind of commands we have? I'm going to explain everything today. Okay? Also, so we have one function to execute a command. We have one function to display a character. We have one function for initialization. you have to call, you must, before you use the LCD, you have to call this one only one time at the beginning of your program. Also, we have one function to display a complete string, a message, a complete message. Okay, so you can define a message in your program. I'm going to show you how can you do it. All what you have to do here is you have to define a message which is array of character, and then you have to send the pointer. This is a pointer to the array of character. You have to send it. Once you do that, this one is going to be stored in temp. So temp becomes like an array of characters, as you see here. So for example, if you have here hello, HELLO, and then I'm going to send, as you will see, I'm going to send the pointer to this one. So actually here I can access the character one by one. How can you do that? Actually, the ASCII of H, the ASCII of E, the ASCII of L, the ASCII of L, the ASCII of O, and then finally number 0 null, which means you don't need to do it. Once you define this, as you can see right now, once you define this message, the C language is going to add this null at the end. This is a delimiter, and we had one lab before about what I mean by delimiter. So what this function is going to do, as you see here, guys, I'm going to start from the beginning of the array. So as you see here, look, while, so I'm going to make a while loop. Okay, while temp I start from 0. Okay, so I here equal to 0. Let's have this example. Okay, I is equal to 0. Okay, so temp I actually in this example is actually letter H, the ASCII of letter H, the ASCII of letter H, whatever it is. Okay, is this equal to 0? Is that a delimiter? No, it is not the delimiter. So I'm gonna come here. I'm gonna display letter H. Okay, character by character. Okay, so actually this function is gonna call this function. It's gonna send the ASCII of letter H to display it. Okay. Then I'm going to increment I by 1. So now I is here. I is here. Is that okay? Now, this one now is actually the ASCII of E. Is E is equal to 0? No. So I'm going to come here. Then I'm going to send the ASCII of E to display it. Okay? So I'm going to continue this way until I, so I here is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Until I is 5. Once I is equal to 5, so now this one is 0, delimiter. Because this one is 0, so I'm going to leave. Easy. Okay, guys. So this is how. So again, all what we're going to use, we're going to use 4 functions. That's it. You should know how can you use it. One function for initialization only one time. One function to execute commands. Okay. Also, you need to learn is a code. You need to learn what commands we have and what is the code for each command. That's what I'm going to teach right now. Also, we have one function to display a character. We have one function to display a complete message. Okay, and I have a program. I'm going to show how can you use them. Okay, here in the initialization, as I told you, we have to execute some commands here in the initialization. That's why I'm calling this function. Okay, the first command here again. How you came up with this number? How you came up with this one? Again, this is what is written in the data sheet. Go to the data sheet. They told me that in the data sheet they told me if you are using the 4-bit mode of this LCD, you have to do initialization this way. Okay, so I have to send command 28. So command 28, this actually is gonna set the LCD. I'm gonna by this one, I'm gonna tell the LCD, I'm gonna use you in the 4-bit mode, not 8-bit mode. Okay, and then I do some configuration for the font. You know, every character here has some pixels. Okay, so it's gonna be 4 by 8. I'm gonna also do configuration for it as a 2-line display. Okay. Again, the hardware is designed. The hardware of the LCD is designed so that when I send it 28, it's gonna understand this one. Okay. Also, I'm gonna send this command. I'm gonna teach you this command in details right now. So this command to turn the LEDs on. This is one of the commands I'm gonna teach. This is one of the commands you are gonna need in the coming lab. You need to turn that. How can you turn the display on? You can turn the display on and you can turn the display off. So you have to send a command to do that. I'm gonna teach it. Okay. Also, this one also in the same command, you can turn the cursor on. Okay. You know what I mean? Yeah. So as you see here, you can see a cursor. So there is a command, you can turn the cursor on, you can turn the cursor off. If the cursor is off, you cannot see the cursor. Okay. Anyway. Also, the next one here, turn blinking off. Blinking means, I want you to play at home, you do blinking and see what I mean by blinking. But blinking means the cursor, do you want a stable cursor or you want the cursor to do blinking? What do you mean by blinking? By blinking, it's going to be something like that for some time, and then if the whole character is going to, so it's going to switch from here to here. You can see it's like blinking. So the cursor is going to be stable this way, or it's going to be the same cursor is going to be blinking. It's going to be this way and then this way and then this way, blinking. Anyway, usually I don't want to use blinking, so I'm going to turn it off. Also, I'm going to use this command as I'm going to teach right now. This command actually, you are going to clear the LCD and return the cursor to the beginning. So this is going to return the cursor to here and to clean everything. Initialization, I'm doing initialization. And then I'm going to also teach this command. This command here, I'm telling the cursor, every time I write something, please move the cursor to the right. Okay, because this is a command, by the way. You can ask, as you will see right now, you for example, when I write, the cursor is here in the very beginning. Is that okay? If I write letter H, so H is going to be here, and then the cursor is going to move to the right this way, and then I'm going to write letter E. So E. So whatever you wanna write, so it's going to be written in the location of the cursor. So you are going to letter E. So every time you write something, you want the cursor to move to the right, because we write English, right? By the way, for some reason, they allow you, or if you want to use it in a certain way, they allow you so that the cursor can move to the left instead of the right. So I'm gonna choose the command for that. But here, because we're writing English, every time I have to do the initialization, so that I want to ask the cursor, every time I write something, you need to move to the right. Okay, you can ask the cursor to move to the left. So if you write something, the cursor is gonna move to the left. But anyway, we're not gonna use it. So that's why you need to do it in the initialization. I'm gonna give you more details when I go to commands. But what I did here, again, I just did reset to the controller, and then I executed some initialization here. I need to clear everything. I need to the cursor. I want the cursor to be shown. You can cancel it, as I told you. You don't see the cursor. If you want, you can do that. But anyway, so now I'm in this program. You have this program here, guys. I'm going to use this program just to display a message like this one. I want to display a message like this one. Again, as I told you, it cannot be easier than that. All what I'm going to do right now, guys, I have 4 functions. That's it. I explained everything in details. I explained how the hardware is connected. I explained how even I did all the function, how I programmed the hardware. I explained how I came up with this function, because everything came from the data sheet, right? But if it's too simple, all what you have to do, if you want to use the LCD, you have 4 functions. You should know how to use the function. That's it. You got what I'm saying? So now I want to use the LCD to display a message like this one. How I can do it? Okay. So all what I have to do, guys, as you see here, this is in the main. As I told you, you have to do initialization. So this is number 1. You have to call. You have to do the initialization. You cannot use the LCD without doing the initialization. So number 1, you have to do the initialization, as I did here. Number 2, here I need to define an array of characters or a string or array of characters here with this message. So message 1, and I have message 2 here. So the way I did it, as you see here, guys, this is array of characters. I can do this way. Look how I made it here. What this one means, this is when you see asterisk character, you know what character means for sure. Okay, when I add asterisk here, that means this is a pointer. So this one is actually storing an address. This is a pointer for line 1. Is that okay? Why you did this way? Because as I told you in this function, because this is the way how I base, or this is one of the ways, if you have an array, how you base array to a function. So I can base a pointer to this array. Okay. So anyway, that's what I did. So here what I did, as you see here, guys, and then I'm going to say line 1 equal welcome to 3130. Is that okay? And then I did another message here, or another array of characters. I call it line 2, and then it's going to equal, look here, very important, look here. I have a space, another space. That's what you see here. Look here. So even space is counted. Yes, space is counted. So here you can see there are 2 spaces here. And then at the end, we have 1 space here at the end. That's why you can see another space here. Okay. Anyway, so now I define 2 messages, two array of characters. For sure, I didn't display them yet. I just defined them, okay? So again, if you want to use this LCD, number one, you have to do the initialization. After you do the initialization, what's going to happen after you do the initialization, you will see something like that. The cursor is here. Is that okay? And then after that, this is command. So leave it for now. I comment this part. So now, all what I'm going to do, as you see, very simple. All what I'm going to do, I'm going to call this function string to LCD, and then I'm going to send the pointer, which is line 1. So what this function is going to do, this function is going to display the first one here. It's going to display this one, and then it's going to put the cursor here. This one is not displayed yet. Okay. So here, that's what I did. So this instruction is going to display the first one. For sure, you have to make sure the message you are going to display, it should not be more than 16 characters, right? Because what you have here, we have 16 characters. Sometimes you see in some systems, if you want to display more than 16 characters, we do something like rotating text. For sure, you can do something like that. Very interesting. I'm going to tell you how, but for sure, you can do something like that. Rotating, you know what I mean? So some text rotating, leaving. So yes, this is a good technique. You know, in Brown Hall, there is a fountain. There is a water fountain in the first floor or the second floor. The water fountain it has LCD telling you clear the filling area, but they do it in rounding text. Okay, you can see it. Anyway, because they don't have enough space, so it's moving around. Okay. Anyway, let's do the simple stuff first. So then after you display this message, okay. So should I repeat it again and just send the second one? No, because if you do that, you are going to start writing from here, and it does not move automatically to the next line. It does not move automatically to the next line. You have to write a comment to do that. You get what I'm saying? And that's exactly what I did. So if you write something like here, it's not going to be shown. Okay, it's not going to be shown. It's not going to move automatically. That's why, as you see here, guys, I'm going to use this instruction. I'm going to send the code C0. C0, this is the code for moving the cursor to here. You got what I'm saying? So let me tell you what happens after this instruction. That's what you should see. Okay, guys. So the cursor is here. Nothing is shown here. Yeah, this is after this instruction. Is that okay? After you do the second instruction here, this one actually is going to move the cursor frame, put the cursor frame, so that I'm going to start writing from here. Okay, guys. So I have to write a command. I'm going to tell you how I came up with this code. Okay, but this is the code. So every time you use this code actually, and that's what we need in the coming lab, is going to move the cursor in this location all the time. Okay. So that's why I'm going to write this one. After that, I'm going to start writing the second one. Very easy, very trivial. It cannot be easier than that. Okay. So conclusion, you should learn how can you use this function, why I used this one, why, and then you can use this function. That's how I just display this one. Okay. If you want to display a character, I come on this one, but I just want you to know it. If you want to display a character, for example, so just you call this function and you can put the character this way, okay? Or you can put the ASCII code, because if you put it this way, actually, so if you put it like H or A or something like that, C language is going to replace it with the ASCII code. You got them? So you are asking is going to be replaced by the ASCII code, or you can just send the ASCII code as I did here. You can just send the ASCII code. Okay. Again, this part is just I commented. Just I want to tell you, but what we need for this to display this one, you need the initialization. You need here to write a string. You need to comment to move to the next line, and then you need initialization again. Any questions? Very easy, very trivial. Cannot be easier than that. So now you know how can you display a complete message? How can you execute a command? How if you want to display some individual characters, how can you do that? Is that okay? What is left? So I finished everything. What is left? What is left here is commands. What commands we have? What is the code for each command? Right. So all what you have to do, guys, is that if you want to execute a command, you have to use this function. Okay. But just here, what I'm going to teach right now is the different codes. The different codes for the different commands. Okay. That's what you have to send here. Is that okay? Any questions? Okay. So Number one, how you told me this every comment has a number, has a code. Number one, how you came up with this code? Have you invented them? No, I didn't. I wish if I invented. No, I didn't. Okay. So actually, again, the people who manufacture the LCD, they give me these numbers because this is how they designed the hardware. They designed the hardware so that when I sent this instruction, when I sent C0, C0 is going to move the cursor to here. You got what I'm saying? I already taught some of them. For example, here, this one, clear LCD, clear LCD. So here, the hardware is designed. When I sent 0, 1, this one is going to clear the LCD. You understand what I'm saying? So again, if you go to the data sheet, I got this table. So this table has the instructions we have. I got it from the data sheet, the LCD. So in the future, if you use a different LCD, you should find a table like this one. You should see how you do it. Okay. But again, luckily, I think most of them very close to each other. So let's start here with this one. Okay. So this is the code. The code is only this 8 bits. 8 bits here. This is the code, guys. The 8 bits here. Okay. This is what you have to put in RS, read or write. So just to forget this one because this is for RS, 1 bit on bit. So this is the code. So that's what you have. This is the code you have to set. So for every code, I'm going to teach what it is doing, and also what we are going to do in the coming lab. In the coming lab. Okay. So in the coming lab, before I teach this one, so in the coming lab is actually practice about the use of LCD, right? So here you are going to use we have here the keypad. I'm going to teach the keypad right now. It's also very easy. It's not difficult. So we have a keypad as you see here. Let me see if I have a picture. Yeah, look here, guys. We have a keypad here. Okay. So next lab, I want you to use the keypad and also use the LCD. Okay. So in the next lab, I'm going to tell you guys, if I press a number from 1 to 9, just from 0 to 9, just to display it. If you look at the keypad here, guys, the keypad, this is number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, 5. We have, as you see here, we have 16 keys. We have 16 keys. Out of the 16 keys, we have 10 keys for the number from 0 to 9. As you see here, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 0 here. Okay. So all in the coming lab, I'm telling you, as you will see right now, if you want to read any value from the keypad or any keystroke from the keypad, I'm going to teach it right now. After I give you a lot of details, at the end, it's just a function. You call the function is going to wait until the user hit a key, and then it's going to return the key number to you. For sure, I'm going to tell you the details, how the hardware is connected, how the function works. But at the end, just you have a function called keypad. That's it. You got what I'm saying? So all what you have to do, I'm going to call a function. This function is called read. It's called read keypad, as I'm going to teach right now. Okay. Once you call the function is going to wait until you hit a key. Once you hit a key, it's going to return the number of the key, right? Because here we have 16, so it's going to return a number from 0 to 15. Okay. So if I hit number 1, it's going to return 1. Hit 2, you are going to return 2. Okay, as you see here. If I return 0, it's going to return 0. Okay. So we have here, in addition to this ones, you can see here we have other ones here. So we have here this one for A. So this one is, if you hit this one, you are going to return number 10. You are going to return a number 18. Okay. Number 12, and so on. Okay, guys. So again, you have a function. This function is called read keypad. Okay. As I'm going to explain for sure how it works in details, but this function is going to return a number from 0 to 15. This function, once you call it, it's going to wait until the user hit or press a key. Once you press a key, the function is going to return with a key number. So coming lab, for the coming lab, I'm telling you, look here, guys. Number 1, it's very easy, very trivial. So let me finish. You will see how it is very easy. Number 1, you have to call keypad. Okay, it's called. You have to call the function to read some value from the keypad. So you have to call read keypad. Okay, as you will see right now. This number 1. Number 2, once you call this one, this function is gonna return a number. Okay. Number 2, if the user hit any number from 0 to 9, 0 to 9, okay, from here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0, okay? So if you hit a number, all what you have to do is, I want you to display this number on the LCD. So if I hit 5, you have to display 5. If I hit 7, you have to display 7. Okay, guys? How can you do that? Very trivial. Number 1, you have to call the subroutine. Number 2, you have to check the return value. You have to check it. If the return value is between 0 and 9, okay, guys? So I have to display a character. Okay, so all what I have to do is that I have to call this function. I have to display a character. So if you get a return, if you return it between 0 and 9, I have to call this function. However, okay, however, if I want to display 0, I should not pass 0. If I want to display 1, I should not pass 1. I have to send the ASCII of 0, the ASCII of 1. And the ASCII of 0 actually is, the ASCII of 0 actually is 30. The ASCII of 1 actually is 31. The ASCII of 2 is 32 hexadecimal. All of these are hexadecimal. The ASCII of 9 is actually 39. That's what the key bit is going to give you. That's what you have to send to this function. The key bit is going to give you a number, but the function you have to send to the ASCII. Okay. So all what you have to do, the return value, if the return value between 0 and 9, you have to add. You have to add 30, 0x 30, and then you have to send this value to the LCD to display it. Easy, right? This is the first part. Okay. Then I'm telling you in the coming lab, if the return value of 10, you have to execute a certain command. If it is 11, you have to execute a certain command. If it is 12, you have to until 15. So you have here 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So you have six commands. Very easy. Okay. So all what you have to do, you have to call keypad, read keypad, and then if the return value between 0 and 9, you have to do this one. And then if it is 10, so you have to write the code for the command of 10. If it is 11, you have to write the code for the command of 11, and so on. You got what I'm saying? So now I'm going to teach you the command is here. That's it. Any questions? Okay, let's continue. So what commands we have? Okay, that's all the commands here. Let's go through them one by one. Number 1, this command here, guys, which is as you see here in the table. I'm going to take them from the table one by one. So this is the first. Yeah, this is the first one here in the table. So if you put 0001, which is number 1, if you do that, so this one, number 1, is going to clear the display. Number 2 is going to return the cursor to the home, to the beginning. So this one is going to clear everything. It's going to put the cursor here. That's it. This is one of the commands. I don't remember which number, but for example, I'm going to tell you, if the user hit number 10, please clear the LCD. All what you have to do is the return value. You have to do if statement. If the return value is equal to 10, for example, you have to write the command to clear LCD. So where is the command to clear LCD? I'm putting it here. That's it. You have to send this number to this function. That's it. Okay, guys. I told you all what you have to do in the coming lab. 6 commands. This is one of them. Okay. Let's. What other commands we can have? I'm going to show you one by one. Let's look at the second one here. The second one, as you see here, guys, this one here, 0, 0, 0, and then you have to put 1 here. Asterisk means it doesn't matter. If you put 0 or 1, it doesn't matter. Is that okay? So what this command is going to do, so this command actually is going to return the cursor to home position. Okay. So actually, this command, for example, you can put here 02. So this one is going to return the cursor to home position without changing the content. Okay. If you write, you are going to overwrite. For example, what this means, I'm going to tell you what it means. For example, if I write the word hello, the cursor is here. Okay. If I execute this instruction, what this instruction is going to do is going to move the cursor to the home position. So it's going to be something like that hello, and then the cursor will come to here, the home position. Is that okay? then after that, when you write, for example, if I write letter X, so actually you are gonna overwrite whatever is there. Okay. Anyway, so this one is gonna move it to the home position. Okay. We don't need in the coming lab, but we have it. Okay. What other commands we have? Okay, so let's move to the next one here. In the next one here, guys, as you see, we have 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, and then here you have selection. You can select either 0 or 1. Also here you have selection, 0 or 1. So what this selection is gonna do? Okay, I'm gonna tell you what it does. I define them here. So this is ing and this is s. Okay, so let's see one by one. So ing, this bit here, if it is 0, it's gonna do something. If it is 1, it's gonna do something else. I define it here. So if 0, that means decrement the cursor position. If 1 means increment the cursor position. What this means, as I told you before, every time, for example, if I write letter H, if you make it increment, if you put here 1, so every time I write something, you increment the cursor. So that means you move the cursor to the right. Okay. If you put this 1, that means you move the cursor to the left. For sure, as I told you, I did this one in the initialization, yes, because I want to program the LCD. Everything I write something, I want the cursor to move to the right, not to the left. Move the right means increment, so I have to put here 1. If you put here 0, so every time I write, the cursor is going to move to the left, not to the right. Is that okay? Anyway, so this is the first bit. What about the second bit? The second bit, S here, the second bit here. This bit should determine, do you want to shift or not? So if you put 0, no shifting. If you put 1, that means you wanna shift. What this means? What do you mean you want to shift? Or shift is a text. I told you before, we can do something like rotating text. Rotating. For example, let me explain. For example, if I say hello, okay? So every time I write something, so this one will be shifted, okay? So that's the meaning of it. So you want to shift it or not? So I want you to, when you go home, execute this instruction and see how they work, okay? Again, I don't in the coming lab, we don't need this one. We can use it in the initialization. That's what we did. So in the initialization, I can program it to make sure every time the cursor is going to move to the right, I have to make sure there is no shift. There is no shift. Okay. Let's see the next one, because the next one we need in the coming lab. So the next instruction, as you see here, guys, this is the number here. You have to send 0, 0, 0, and then 1. Okay. And then we have here D. This can be 0 or 1. C and B. Okay. We need this one in the coming lab. So let me teach you them. Every bit is going to do something different. So let's go through them. As you see here, guys, D, which is this bit here. This bit is going to be used if you want to turn the cursor on or off. If you want to turn the cursor on or off. So if I put here, as you see here, if I put 0, that means I want to, sorry, if you want to turn the LCD on or off, okay, this bit. The cursor is going to be C, as you see here. So here for D, so if you want to turn the LCD off, just to put 0 here. If you want to turn it on, just to put 1 here. Okay. And send the command, the code. So here's this one can determine if you want to turn the LCD on or off. This one is going to determine, do you want to turn the cursor on or off? You want to see the cursor or not? So if I put here 0, there is no cursor, off, you cannot see it. If I put 1, you can see the cursor, okay? B here, this one can determine if the cursor is on, do you want the cursor to be stable or you want it to be blinking, this bit. Okay, guys? Okay, we're going to use this command in the next step. How we're going to use it next lab? Actually, because in the next lab, look here, we need this one. In the next lab, there is one button. I told you in this button, if the LCD is on, I press, I make it on. If the LCD is off, I press, I make it on. Sorry, again, if the LCD is on, so this button is going to be on off for the LCD. So if it is on, I press, I make it off. Press again, you make it on. So to turn the LCD on and off, one button. Okay, guys. But okay, so now, how can you turn on or off? That's very easy. All what you have to do, you have to send this command. That's what I'm explaining here. So if you want, this is for the cursor. We don't need it for now. Yeah, here. Look here, guys. If you wanna, yeah, here. If you see here, if I wanna turn the if you wanna turn the display on and off. Okay, so all what you have to see, I have to send this command, I have to send this code to turn it on or turn it off. Okay, so now I know how can you turn the LCD on or off. Is that okay? But there's a problem here. What is the problem here? The problem is, I told you, if LCD is on, so I have to execute this command to make it off. If LCD is off, so I have to call this command to make it on. Is that okay? Make sense? But the question is that, so every time I press the button, that means if it is on, I will make it off. If it is off, you need to make it off. So the question is that, how I can know if it is on? How can I use the status of the LCD to select which command I have to execute? You got what I'm saying? How can I do that? Okay, you remember in the last lab, when you used a variable to tell you the status of the LED. If LED is on, I'm gonna make it off. If it's off, I'm gonna make it on. You remember? We're gonna do it right now. So here, I'm gonna use a variable. For example, this variable, I'm gonna call it status, LCD status, any name. So this variable can take one of two values, 0 or 1. And 1 means the LCD is on, 0 means it is off. In the very beginning, I'm gonna put 1 because in the very beginning, I am sure it is on in the very beginning. Okay. Every time I press the button, I'm gonna check this one. If it is on, so I'm gonna it changes the variable to 0. Okay. Also, I'm gonna execute the command to make it off. Okay, guys, that's what you have to do in the coming lab. So in the coming lab, number one, you have to put keypad, read a value from the keypad. After that, you have to check the return value. If the return value is related to the command, I'm gonna tell you this command to turn on and off. All what you have to do, number one, you have to check this variable in order to know if LCD is on or off. And then based on that, if it is on, so I have to change the variable to 0. Also, I have to execute the command to make it off. You got what I'm saying? Any questions? Exactly. If you understood what we did in the last lab, this is exactly the same thing. You have to use a variable to tell you if it's on and off. Every time you change the state, you already have two commands here: one to turn on, one to turn off. Okay. So all what I need to know is that on to make it off, or if it's on, off to make it on. That's all what I know. And to do that, you have to use a variable to do that. You have to make sure every time I press the button, you have to change the value of this variable, okay, to reflect the correct status of the LCD. Any questions? This is also you need in the coming lab. Very easy. Okay. Then what other instructions we have here? Okay, as you see here, guys, I'm gonna move to this one. Here, as you see, we have here 001. Asterisk means it doesn't matter if you put 0 or 1, it doesn't matter. And then we have here two, S or C and R and L. Okay, and we need this one in the coming lab. So let me explain what this means. Okay, this one is used if you wanna move the cursor to the right, move the cursor to the left. You know the arrows, if you have here arrows in the keypad, so we have arrow to move the cursor this way and this to move the cursor that way. Okay, you can do that. For example, if you have hello and you have a cursor here, I can write a command to move the cursor one step to the right, or I can write a command to move the cursor one step to the left or one step to the left. So you can, yes, there are some commands to move the cursor to the right or the left, and this is in the coming lab. In the coming lab, also there is one button. I don't remember the number. You will find it. I'm telling you, when I press the button, okay, when I press this button, move the cursor one step to the right. All what you have to do after you get a number from the keypad, you have to check if this is a command or this is a number I'm telling you to move the cursor to the right. So here we are going to use two buttons. one button for right, one button to the left. Is that okay? So that means, so you are going to use two keys, two push buttons. Okay, every one of them is going to give you different number. Okay, for example, I don't remember the numbers, but for example, 12 and 13. So you are going to click the keypad. If you get 12, you have to execute this instruction to move the cursor to the right. For example, okay, you need to check the left. The second one, okay, if you get this number, I'm going to move the cursor to the left. Okay. So now, how I can move the cursor to the right or the left? Okay, very simple. All what you have to do here, guys, this one you can tell from R and L. So this one should determine right or left, and it's explained here. So if I put here 0, that means it is left. If I put 1, that means it is right. Is that okay? Okay, what about the second one? The second one, it's going to tell you, do you want to move the cursor or you want to move the text to the right or the text to the left? Okay, so for example, if I have hello this way, okay, the cursor is here. So this one, I have two things here. I can move, I can keep the text, but I just move the cursor. Or you can shift hello. For example, you have here hello. Okay, so you can actually shift hello. So after you shift, it's going to be hello. For sure, something like that's going to be useful if you want to do like a rotating text. You got what I'm saying? So again, this one should determine left or right. This one should determine you want to move the cursor alone only, or you want to move the cursor and the text. You got what I'm saying? This one. So it's going to be shifted to the text. Again, in the coming lab, we're not going to make like a rotating text, but if you want to do it, this is the way you can do it. Okay, you can move the cursor. Sorry, you can move the text, shift the, so you have to put 0 here. So let me see, that's what I'm saying here. So if you put 0, so that means you have to move the cursor. If you wanna shift the text, you have to put 1 here. Okay. So again, very trivial, very simple. Look here, guys. Because I want to move the cursor, so I'm gonna put here 0. Very easy. And now, if I'm asking you to move the cursor to the right, as you see here, to the right. Okay, so I have to put 1 here. So this is the command you have to send. This is the number. Okay, if you want to change it to the left, you have to put 0 here. This is the number. I already give you the numbers here. Okay, so here I'm telling you, that's what I'm explaining here. So if you put here 0, that means I want to move the cursor, not the text. I don't want to shift the text. Okay, so again, to the left, you have to use this command. I already solved the lab. Okay, so I'm saying, so this one you have to use this one if you want to move the cursor to the left. Okay. So in the coming lab, I'm going to tell you if the user enter, for example, number 12, so you have to move the cursor to the left. So you have to use this one. If the user enter number 13, you have to move the cursor to the left and right. So you have to use this one. Okay, guys. Again, I told you this one here. This is if you want to shift the text. Again, guys, I wish if you have time, you have the board, you have the program, just to go home and play, right? Just to play with it, just to change the number. See how can you see how this will happen. Okay, if you send this command, what's going to happen, right? And you can make something like rotating text. Very interesting things. Okay? Any questions? Okay. The last thing I'm going to explain right now in the commands. Okay. Before I leave this one, look here, guys. Okay. One of the commands I'm going to ask you to do in the coming lab is backspace. 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 So, for example, if this is the display, is something like that, hello, something like that, and there is a certain button here. I don't remember the number. If I press this button, I should do like, you have to eat one character, so it should be like backspace. So every time I press this button here, a certain button with a certain number, so the person is gonna eat one character. This one. Okay, guys. Okay, this is easy. All what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna execute a command for backspace. We don't have a command for backspace. So what should I do? How I can, based on what I taught so far, you can do it, but we don't have a command to do backspace. But you can use multiple instructions from what I taught so far. So how I can do something like that? Any questions? Any thought? Any idea? You understand what I'm saying? How I can do that? That's easy, not difficult. Yes.
Would you actually shift to the later by
Thanks. That's true. But something is missing. Okay, so let me do what you said. So here, number one, I don't have one command to do backspace. We agree on that. But still I can do it. How can you do it? I'm gonna use 3 commands. You mentioned 2. One is missing. You are gonna help me on this one, okay? So we have to use 3 commands to do that. Number one, the cursor is here. So I have to use command to move the cursor to the left. Okay, that's easy. Is that okay? Number 2, you told me write space. Okay. After I write space, it's going to be written a space, and then the cursor is automatic. Every time you write something, the cursor is going to move to here. What else I should do now? Yes, move the cursor back 1 step to the left. That's true. So yes, you have to write 3 commands instead of 1 command. This is what you have to do in the coming lab. Number 1, move the cursor 1 step to the left. Write space. So when you write space, you have to use a function that is going to write a character, because space is not a command, right? Space is a character. It's a character. If you check, I guess, as far as I remember, if I depend on my memory, it should be, I think the ASCII for space is 20, but you need to check. Okay. So, and then you have to return it back. Again, what's really interesting and what really I love is you are going to write 3 commands, but you are not going to see, because computers or microcontrollers are very fast. So you're not going to see the cursor. You're not going to see the steps. You're not going to see the cursor is moving. Then there is a space and then moving back again. You should not see it. Okay. Unless I didn't try on this. This is a very simple microcontroller. Let's see if you can notice something. Maybe it is slow. You may notice something. I don't know. But again, usually if you have like reasonable microcontroller with a reasonable power computation, okay, you should not observe anything. You can see it just. That's what you are going to see. Okay, hello, and then once you execute it, you are going to see this one. You are not going to see the steps in the middle. Okay. Anyway, let's do it and see what's going to happen. Okay. Any questions? Okay. The last command you are going to have, you need to do in the lab. I almost solved it, everything in the lab, except one thing. There is a command here. I'm going to teach it right now. Look here, guys. There is one button. I don't remember which button, but assume this button here. I tell you, every time I press this button, if the cursor in line 1, you have to move it to the beginning of line 2. And if the cursor is in line 2, you have to move it to the beginning of line 1. The same button. So if the cursor in line 1 is somewhere in line 1 and I press this one, as you see here, so it should come to the home of line 2. If it is here, it is in line 2, and I press the same button, should come to. How can we do that? Number one, I need 2 instructions. I need 2 commands. I need 1 command here to move the cursor to here. Also, I need this command. That's true. We have these 2 commands. I'm going to explain them right now. So we have 2 commands. 1 command to move the cursor to the home of line 2, and 1 command to move the cursor to the home of the first line. Is that okay? We have these commands. Is that everything? No. I need to know where is the cursor. Is that in line 1 or line 2? Because if it is in line 1, I'm going to move it to 2. If it is in 2, I'm going to move it to 1. So I need to know. How can you know? Similar to what I have just explained right now about how can you know if the LCD is on or off? Similar to what we did in the last lab. Okay. Here you have to use a variable. For example, I'm going to call it line, for example, or whatever variable. This variable should take one of 2 numbers, either 1 or 2. For example, Okay, so 1 means the cursor is in line 1. 2 means the cursor is in line 2. In the very beginning, I'm going to initialize this variable with 1. Because in the very beginning, in the initialization, I'm going to put the cursor in line 1. Okay, every time I press the button, okay, I have to make sure I'm going to move it from here to here. Or if it is in 2, I'm going to make it 1. So you have to write a code. You have to check what is the value of the variable. If it is 1, I'm going to make it 2. 2, I'm going to make it 1. And then if it is 1, also I have to write the command to move it to 2. If it is in 2, I have to write the command to move it to 1. Any questions? Okay, you understand the idea? Any questions? Okay, now what commands you told us you have command to move the cursor to 1 or 2? What's the code for these commands? I'm going to tell you. Actually, it is actually more than that. It is a general. It's what do you mean by general? I'm going to tell you. Look here, guys. Here we have 16 characters, 16 location. Here we have 16 characters with 16 location. I have command to move the cursor here anywhere. So I can put the cursor anywhere here or here in any location. Okay. How can you do that? I'm going to tell you. Very easy, very trivial. Look here, guys. The way this is the command is here. This is the command you have to send. Okay. This bit should determine. This bit should determine. Are you considering line 1 or line 2? So if here I put 0, that means I'm going to work on line 1. If I put 1, so that means I'm going to work on line 2. Okay. So this bit, as you see here, this bit here can take 0 or 1 to tell is that you wanna work on line 1 or line 2. Okay. This number 1. Number 2, these 4 bits are going to give you a number from 0 to 15, which are actually the 16 location we have here and the 16 location we have here. So here in the first location we have 0, and the last location is location number 15. Here also location number 0, location number 15. Very easy, very trivial. For example, if I put here 0, okay, so and then I put here 15, so the cursor is going to come to here. Okay, and so on. So you can put here wherever you want to do it. Okay, in our case or in the lab, I want to put it here in the first location. Okay, so what I have to do, I have to put here 0, and then I have to put here 0. So actually, this is the number. This number is 80. So if you use number 80, so actually you are going to move the cursor to the home of the first line, and that's exactly what I did here. If you see here, 80. Okay, so you can put the cursor anywhere. Okay, in any location. Okay, because now, what if I want to put the cursor in the home of the second line? How I can do that? Okay, again, you have to put here 1 to be the second line, and then here I'm going to put 0, 0, 0, because this is location number 0 in line 1. Yeah, so this one is going to be C0, and that's exactly what I did, C0. Okay, so again, so this command is going to put the cursor here. This command is going to put the cursor here. All what you have to do, guys, you have a variable. If this variable is telling you the cursor is in line 0, so I have to execute this command. Sorry, line 1. I'm going to execute this command to move it to line 2. Okay. If it is in line 2, you have to use this command to move it to line 1. Any questions? Very easy. Any questions? Again, before I move the keypad, conclusion, very, very easy. Again, guys, if I want to explain a lot of things, I explain the details of the details. I explained everything. However, this is the conclusion. The conclusion is that if you want to program LCD, we have 4 functions. Okay, you should learn how can you use them. Number 1, initialization. You have to call it only one time in the beginning of your program, one time before you use the LCD. This one. Number 2, we have, as you see here, we have 3 functions here. Okay, this function is used if you want to execute a command. Okay, this function execute if you want to display a character and you have to send the ASCII of the character here. This one is used if you want to display a message, a complete message, and you have to send, as I explained, the array here, the pointer to the array here. Okay, that's it. On top of that, you should learn what code you have. what commands we have and what code for each command. That's it. Very easy, very trivial. Any questions? I cannot make it easier than that. Believe me, it's too easy, right? Any questions? Okay, now we're gonna move to the next one, the keypad. As you see here, guys, we have 16. We have a keypad with 16 push buttons. 16 push buttons. I explained before. I explained before how can we use the push button. I explained it before, right? How can we use the push button? Now we have 16 push buttons. That's okay. So the question is that, okay, how I connect it? There is a very naive way to connect it. What is the naive way to connect it? Okay, very simple, similar to what we did before. This is the naive way. We're not going to do that, but this is a very naive way. This is a microcontroller. You have 16 keys, 16 keys. So now I'm going to use 16 pins, one key for each pin, similar to what I did before. And then I'm going to check which one you are pressing. You understand what I'm saying? This is the very naive way. So the very naive way is I have 16 push buttons. I will explain how to program push buttons before. It's the same push button, right? I'm going to connect 16 push buttons to 16 pins. Why you call it a naive or not a good idea? For sure, it's not a good idea because usually microcontroller, it does not have too many pins to use 16 pins only for the keypad. Okay, but what can you do about it? I'm going to tell you about, I'm going to tell you now a smarter idea. Instead of you using 16, I'm going to drop it to only 8 pins. Is that okay? How can you do that? I'm going to tell you how. Okay. Again, all what I need to know, guys, I need to know which key you are pressing. Okay, I'm going to tell you about the idea. So the idea here, guys, as you see, the idea what we are doing is that we actually will use wires or conductor, whatever you want to call them, wire or conductors, wires. We're going to use 4 wires this way, and then we're going to use 4 wires this way. Every intersection here is not short circuit. Every intersection is not short circuit. Otherwise, all of them are going to be 1 point. So anyway, so every intersection is not a short circuit. This is how I'm going to do it, okay? So I'm 4 wire and 4 wire this way. And in every intersection, I'm going to put 1 switch. Okay, guys? Okay, as you see here. And then now, instead of using 16 pins, only I need 4 here and I need 4 here. This is what we call row and column. So we have a row and a column. You understand what I'm saying? So we have 4 wires this way and 4 wires this way. Again, every intersection is not a short circuit, not electrically connected. It's not a short circuit, right? And in every intersection, I'm gonna put a switch. Okay. And actually, the main idea is when I press the button, if I press this button, I'm gonna make a short circuit between row 0 and column 0. If you press it. Right? So what is the idea here? I'm going to tell you what is the idea. Look here, guys, as I told you, we have here row 0, row 1, row 2, row 3. We have here column 0, column 1, 2, and 3. In every intersection, we have a switch this way. Okay, in every intersection. Sorry. Okay, guys. And again, all what I need 4 pins here and 4 pins here. So instead of 16, I need only 4 and 4. I need 8. Is that okay? Look at the idea. What is the idea? Oh, the idea is that. The idea is that every push button is gonna connect 1 row, a unique pair of a row and column. Every push button is going to connect a unique pair of a row and column. For example, this button is going to connect 0, 0. This one is going to connect 1, 1, and 0. Okay, and so on. Okay, guys. So all what I have to do is I need to know which key you are pressing. In order to know which key you are pressing, you have to know which row is connected to which column. That's all what. So I need to do what we call a scan. I need to scan. I need to write a code to figure out which row is connected to which column. And every key has a unique pair, row and column. By this way, I can identify which key you are pressing. Okay, guys? Okay. But the question is that how can you know? How can you know if which key is connected to which column? How can you know? I'm going to tell you how I know. Look here, guys, about the idea. Very interesting idea, very simple idea. Look here. I told you I need 8 pins. 8 pins. Okay. So I'm gonna make 4 pins. 4 pins. I'm gonna make them here. I'm gonna make these 4 bits input to the microcontroller, and then I'm gonna make these ones output. Okay, so you have 4 and 4. You are gonna make 4 input and 4 output. Okay, sorry, I think you can switch it, but I think the way it is done, these are input. Yeah, I think this okay, and this is output. Yes. Okay, so you have 4 and 4. So 4 bits are going to be input, 4 bits is going to be output. Is that okay? Again, all what I need to know, guys, I need to figure out which key, which row is connected to which key, right? Row 2, column 0. Row 3, column 1, and so on. So I need to know which row is connected to which key. Look at the idea. Very interesting idea. Look here. The way I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it using what we call scanning. Scanning. I have to search. I don't know, so I have to search. How can you search? I'm going to tell you how. Assume the key is here. Here, I'm assuming you are pressing only one key is pressed. Okay, I'm not going to make the situation more difficult. So just you are pressing. So there is only one short circuit here. I want to figure out where is the short circuit. So this one is open because you are not pressing it. Open circuit, open circuit, open circuit. Is only short circuit is here. Is that okay? I need to figure out which row is connected to which column, right? Because if I can figure the row and I can figure the column, I can figure the key. I can identify the key. Okay, look. So here I'm gonna do search, scanning. How can you do it? I'm gonna tell you how. Look here. Why you make this one output? I make it output because I'm gonna use this one for scanning. So here in this bit, I'm gonna output 5 volt. Here in this bit. Okay, guys. And then I'm going to read the input here. If I find the input 0, 0, 0, 0, what it means? What it means? If I put here 5 volt and find 0, 0, 0, 0, what it means? It means the short circuit is not in this column. Because if the short circuit is here, the 5 volt would come to here. You understand what I'm saying? So it is not in this column. So you have to try another one. That's what I mean by scanning. Okay. So here, yeah, so now it is not here. So now I'm gonna output 1 here. I'm gonna put the 5 volt here. Then I still 0, 0, 0. So the short circuit or the switch or the push button that is being pressed is not here. You got what I'm saying? If it is not here, I have to try next one. Yes, now if I put here 5 volt, I will find this one is 5 volt. By this way, because why? Because there is a short circuit here. Only one switch is gonna, the switch you are pressing is gonna make a short circuit between one row and one column. And I need to write a code to figure out where is the short circuit, which row is connected to which column. How can you do that? By search. I'm gonna search. I'm gonna put here. If I wanna see if it is here in this column, I'm gonna put here 5 volt. I have to put 0 volts here. Okay. If it is not here, so next time I'm gonna put here 5 volt. I'm gonna put 0 volts here. If it is not here, I'm going to move to the until I find it. You understand? The idea is that. Okay? The idea is that. 2 things here. Number 1, if there is no short circuit here, so when I put 5 volt, because these ones are 0. So because there is no short circuit to transfer the 5 volt from here to here. So I'm going to get 0. The idea is clear. Anyway, I'm going to explain it in more details for now. So yeah, so here what I did, guys, is the following. Okay, I I made a subroutine. Let me make it again. I'm explaining the details of the details in order to understand it very well. However, all what we need, how can you use the keypad? And the way, all what you have to do, I cannot make it more simpler than that, okay? Look here, guys. All what you have to do, we have two functions. I'm gonna explain the details because you need to understand the details. But if you want to use the keypad, you have two functions, okay? One function is called, I'm gonna explain it for sure in details, but for now, I wanna give you the conclusion before I give you the details. So conclusion is that number one, you have this function. It's called keypad initialization. Keypad initial. So if you want to use the keypad, you have only two functions. That's it. You need to learn how to use it. Then I'm gonna explain how these two functions are made. That's it. So the first function is that called keypad initialization. You have this is similar to any initialization. You have to use this one only one time in your program. This is number one. This one should initialize the pins input or output. As I told you, we're gonna have 4 pins input and 4 output. The initialization of the pins is done here. This is number one. The second function I'm going to explain right now is called read keypad. This function, what this function is going to, once you call this function, as you see here, this function is going to return a byte. This function is going to return a byte. And the byte is going to return is actually a number between 0 and 15. This is the number of the key you are pressing. So once you call this function is gonna wait. If you are not pressing any buttons, this function is gonna wait until you press. Once you press, it's gonna return the number. Again, once you call this function is, if you are not pressing, it's gonna wait there until you press. Once you press, it's gonna return the number between 0 to 15. This is the number of the key you are pressing here. That's it. Very easy. Any questions? Let's go to the details. That's all what I need. That's how can you use two functions. One for initialization, and then you put this function. This function is gonna wait until you press a button, so that when you press a button, it's gonna return the number of the button from 0 to 15. That's it. Any questions? Okay. So now, let's talk about connection, how it is connected. You told us right now, all what I need, I need 4 and 4. So I need 8 pins. Where are the 8 pins? Okay. Unfortunately, the keypad is not connected by the board. So the board here is going to connect only, we need 4, right? 4 columns and 4 rows and 4 columns. Only 2 are connected here. So we need to connect, so here, this keypad is actually connected to the bigger microcontroller connected here. Okay, guys. That's why if you want to use the keypad, you have to connect external jumpers, as you see here. Okay. So as you see here, guys. Let me go here. Yes. So here, as I told you, we need row 0, we need 4 pins for rows, and we need 4 pins for columns. Okay. Out of this 8, we have only 2 connected. Okay. So actually, we have 2 connected to the switches here. The two connected to the switches, which is row 0 and row 1 already connected to the switches. You need to connect the other ones. How you can connect it? Very similar to what you did in the last lab. You remember in the last lab, the board does not have a switch. You need to connect a wire. Okay, it's exactly the same thing. But you don't need a resistor here. You don't need resistors just to connect wires. How can you do it? As you see right now, guys, we are going to use PA4. This is actually row 2 of this one is connected here. So row 2 is connected here. Column 3 is connected here. Okay. Column 2 is connected here. Row 3 is connected here. Column 1 is connected here. Column 0 is connected here. Okay. And already row 0, row 1 already connected here. You don't need to connect them. They already connected to your microcontroller. Let me say again. Very simple. Look here, guys. What I'm saying, this keypad, it needs 4 columns and 4 rows. What is already connected? Only these 2. It's already connected. You need jumpers to connect these 6. Okay. how can you do that? Very easy, very trivial. As you see here, look here, guys. You don't need to worry about row 0 or row 1. They already connected. Row 2 is here. Row 3 is here. Column 1 is here. Column 0 is here. Column 3, column 2. Okay. So all what you need to do, guys, is that you have to connect this one wire here. You have to count 1, 2, 3, 4 until 11. You have to connect this one to be A3. Okay. Why? Because in my code, I just decided. This one was my decision to use BA3 here. So you need to connect a wire from here to BA3. Where is BA3 here? BA3 here. Okay. Which is, look here, guys. Very important. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you have to count here. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, and then you connect a wire from here to here. Is that okay? So you need to connect 6 wires to the pins here. So here, as you see, very easy. As you see here, guys, you have to connect this one to BA3 here, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You have to connect it to here. Okay. Column, you have to connect this one to BA9, which is this one here. Okay. Just give me 1 minute. You have to connect column 1 to column 0 to BA0. Where is BA0 here? Yeah, BA0 is here, which is number 1, 2, 3, 4. So you have to come here 1, 2, 3, 4 here. You understand what I'm saying? So very easy. So all what you have to connect jumper from here, okay, to the pins. I'm saying BA3. You can look at this one and look what is the location of BA3. Okay, guys. Again, listen to me. You have a program. Here. Keypad. I'm gonna explain this program for sure. Next time I'm gonna explain this program. But for now, you have this program. This program is gonna take a number. From you, display it on the LCD. This is a program. Is that okay? You can use this program to know if your connection are. I'm sure this program is working because I tried. Okay. So if you try this program, if it doesn't work, so you have something wrong in the connection. This program is not gonna work if you don't do the connection I told you about. So in this connection here, you understand what I'm saying? So you need to do the connections here in order for, again, why you are doing this one again, guys? Simply because we have a small processor. So this one is not connected to this processor. It's connected to the other processor. That's why you can connect the jumpers as I'm explaining here. Okay. In order to know, again, if you don't do correct connections here, the keypad is not going to work for sure. Okay. So you have to be very careful. Okay. I cannot make it easier than that. You count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. For example, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then this one you have to connect to BA10. You have to see where is BA10 here, and then connect it. Okay? So I have to do 6 jumpers. Okay? Anyway, again, and that's what I'm going to explain last time, guys. The first thing you have to do, number 1, you have to connect the wires. Number 2, you have to execute this program. If this program works, and then number 3, modify this program because this program already did a part of the next lab. Okay, and then once you have this one working, you just modify this program to add the commands I told you about. So this program doesn't have the commands; it only have it's going to display the numbers from 0 to 9. Anyway, I'm going to explain it next time. Okay, thanks.